All right, guys. I want to give you a quick review for your quiz the next time that you're here. So let's go over some of the things that you're going to see on there. First off, if you want to look at something in your textbook, remember you do have a textbook. It's online. You just have to go down to the links where it says online textbook and click on that. The one chapter that you might want to look over would be chapter 2.1, section 2.1 in the textbook, and it's all about the celestial sphere because that's what your quiz is on entirely on the celestial sphere. So you might want to read through some of this stuff. It might help you with some of the material that will be on there. We haven't gotten quite to this stage of things yet with the seasons and the zodiac. We'll get to that later on, but the beginning part of this might be helpful. So I figured I'd show you that first. Now let's jump to my whiteboard. So first thing first, quiz is worth 25 points total. So it is a significant amount for your grade. You need to know basic stuff about Polaris. Remember, Polaris is the North Star, and you should recognize the idea that was from Earth science that the angle or the altitude above the horizon is the latitude where you are. So if this is an altitude for Polaris that you measure in the sky to be, let's say, 30 degrees, then the latitude where this observer is located is 30 degrees north. That's important. You better know that. And remember that everything goes around Polaris. All the stars in the sky seem to rotate around Polaris. Remember, you can use the Big Dipper to find Polaris too. That's something that you should be able to understand and identify and explain on this quiz as well. So just kind of basic stuff about Polaris using the Big Dipper as your guide. Remember, we did this in class, but the last few stars point towards Polaris, which would be over here. Get rid of the rest of that diagram, but you can use that as a guide. Okay, so that's the first part of the quiz. The next part of the quiz related to this. So we did this, we filled this out together in class. Be able to identify different things on this diagram. If I give you a blank diagram and I say label this, this, and this, you should be able to do that. So remember, this represents the celestial sphere, all the stars around us, the sun, the moon, the planets, everything's going around us in this diagram. And we basically are spinning inside of this circle, making it look like everything's moving around us. Okay? So remember that this dotted line is the ecliptic. That's the path that the sun takes throughout the day as well as throughout the year. This is the celestial equator. This angle between them is 23.5. That's the tilt of the Earth. There's the zenith, right? Directly above the North Pole. It's called the North Celestial Pole. That's where Polaris is located. And again, just be able to identify different things on this diagram. So kind of memorize that. The diagram on the back, general things, you obviously should know that Polaris is over there, North Celestial Pole, NCP. That's north, that's south, that's west, that's east. The zenith is a point directly above your head. Okay, this angle that I already told you is, if this is Syracuse, 43 degrees. Okay, that's the latitude of Syracuse. So just general stuff about that worksheet that we did together. Also, general stuff from this lab that you guys were working on. So the entire thing is great. It talks about different topics within here. This diagram, I'm actually going to put this diagram right on the quiz, and you guys should be able to plot a star on this diagram. So if I say that we're at a latitude of, let's say, 50 degrees north, you should be able to put a dot right on the north line at 50 degrees altitude. Okay, and then you should be able to draw stars on here accordingly. Remember, they go around Polaris in that way from east to west. And so this is a really, really nice diagram to look at and be sure you understand. Okay, so those are the basic things you should know. Obviously, the sun rotates, therefore we see the sun go across the sky from east to west. We're going to be getting into some of that stuff in the next couple of days. Generally speaking, it's really all about the stuff that you learned, okay, in the last week or so. One other thing that I'll just point out maybe on the whiteboard here. So again, if this is north and this is south and that's east and that's west, you should obviously be able to figure out, sorry about that, you should be able to figure out the azimuth of a location. Remember, azimuth of north is 0 degrees, this is 90, this is 180, and this is 270. So you should be able to figure out all those different azimuths and anywhere in between. So if I point out a location that has an azimuth of, let's say, 290, that would be somewhere over here. Okay. Altitude, we're looking at from the side view. So here's my celestial sphere. Here's the observer. Okay. And if I say an altitude of, I don't know, 80 degrees above the horizon, that's going to be like up here. Okay. And then it's just a matter of which way is this, north or south or whatever. That's your azimuth. Okay. So remember, altitude is angle above the ground. Azimuth is angle going from north and working your way around clockwise. So that's definitely on there as well. Okay. Remember, the Earth spins around. Okay, I'll draw this over here. The Earth spins around, rotates on its axis. If we're looking at the North Pole right there, this spins around counterclockwise. So we see the stars in the sky go around the Polaris, the North Celestial Pole, counterclockwise. And it takes 1 day to do that, so 360 degrees, 24 hours in a day. That gives you a rotation rate of 15 degrees per hour. That's kind of an important number to recognize. So every hour, this star moves 15 degrees over. Okay? So kind of coming back to this idea here on your lab, every hour, this moves 15 degrees around Polaris. Okay? Every hour. We were doing it for 3 hour and 6 hour and 12-hour increments, but every hour it goes 15 degrees. That's kind of important. Okay? You might see some question kind of like that related to that idea. All right? And I think that's pretty much it. Most of the rest of it is related to some of those things. And I don't think you'll have too much trouble. At the end, there are 5 multiple choice questions. There's a couple of multiple choice questions in the middle. So altogether, there's 7 multiple choice. And the rest, altogether, there are a total of 19 questions. The rest of the other 12 are short answer related to a diagram, related to some other questions, labeling and things like that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about anything, you can always email me, and hope you guys do okay tomorrow.